child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey, I don't know what happened, but here we are.
Hey, I was about to say, voiceover.
Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Christine.
Hi, Christine.
And there's Gaby, and this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. And today we're just bullshitting. We're bullshitting about
the bullshit of online dating.
Non-marriage-minded men. We have a great guest today. I'm going to tell you a little about him in just a little bit. But Gaby and I are going to bullshit right now. How's your week been?
Shitty.
Like my day. Today's been like that for me too.
I mean, my last week was all right. It all exploded on Friday. A guy that I really liked and that I thought wanted to be in a relationship is 40 years old, who I thought knew what he wanted, who was serious about a grown-up relationship, and it all went to shit.
So what gave you the impression, Gaby, that he was relationship oriented? What happened there?
Well, he wanted to be monogamous pretty quickly. He's like, he called me his girlfriend, was like, all right, I really want to see where this goes. Was starting to make plans for the future. Was definitely, I was seeing him like, 3 or 4 times a week. Was talking to him while I went on vacation, wanted me to go meet his family on Christmas Eve.
He wanted you to wait a minute. He wanted you to meet his family, right?
Wanted me to meet his family, was talking about plans for the future.
Okay. So what happened on Friday in a nutshell?
Well, I had tickets to a concert that was playing at a local venue in Milwaukee, and I was very, very excited. It's one of my favorite country artists, Mitchell Timpany. And I bought the tickets 2 months in advance. I was going to bring did bring one of my close girlfriends because she also likes him as well. It was her birthday present. About a week ago, she came over, he was there, we were talking, and he's like, oh, that sounds like fun. I'd love to go. And I was like, okay, well, buy your own ticket, I guess. And she was like, well, my husband would want to go too. So I'm like, all right, well, let's do a double date. Great. Friday rolls around. It was a really hard day at work. But 5 o'clock hit. I was like, all right, take a shower, wash off the stress, wash off the day, and focus on having a fun freaking night.
Yeah.
So blasted my music, took a shower, was putting my face on, was looking good. I got a text from him saying buzzed me in. So I buzzed him into my apartment, went back upstairs, was doing my thing. He comes up and he is just, his energy, he doesn't say wow, baby, you look great, or give me a kiss, hello, or just happy to be there, whatever. His energy was very closed off. He looked like he was shut down. And there was no affection. There was no positivity in his eyes. And he just was standing near my doorway and was just starting to bitch about work and bitching about the drive over and drivers. And I was like, okay, well, this is
gonna be a fun night.
Yay. Why don't you go make a drink downstairs? Maybe bring me up a White Claw and try to relax, wash off the day. But
what's going on with my sound here?
And, I went downstairs when I was all done up. And I mean, it took some time to put, myself together. Cause I was I'm really going all out. Yeah. And he just continued to bitch. And I looked at him and I was like, are you going to be like this all night? And he's like, no, I'm just in a funk. And I'm like, okay, there's distance between us. I was like, okay, this is weird.
That is weird, especially since he was so invested.
And before he was super, super affectionate. He was always sitting next to me, touching, and somehow I'm a very tactile, affectionate person. That's one of my love languages.
Mm-hmm.
I'm words of affirmation and like, you know, touching. Those are my love languages. And we get in the car and he's just continually bitching and like bitching about like, it was negativity was just spewing off of him. Okay. And I got really quiet and he was like, am I annoying you? And I was like, a little. And he was fine, I'll shut up. Okay, great. Drove to the restaurant/bar in silence. Then we get there and it's awkward still, awkward silence. We sit at the bar.
Okay.
And he's like, what's your problem? Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like,
wait a minute. He said, what's your problem? What's wrong with you after all of his attitude the whole time?
Yeah. And I was like, your energy, like you kind of fucked with my energy.
Yeah.
I'm a sensitive person, but like when you're just that energy, it just like it fucked with my energy. And he's like, I have the power. Like, it was very sarcastic too. Like, I have the power to fuck with your energy.
Yeah, dude, everybody has the power to mess with anybody's energy, especially when you come in with an attitude. So I don't get that.
So I was like, okay, woosah, breathe. And I like, you know, I was like, okay, like no, this is not how it's going to start. This is not how it's going to start. So I put my hand out like to hold his hand and he like tapped my palm. I was like, I looked at him. I was like,
wait, you put your hand out, like palm up for him to hold your hand?
palm up, like to hold, you know, on the bar.
It.
And he like tapped it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I see you. And we sat in silence until my friend and her husband got there. And then we went to a table and they all were interacting. We were interacting. He wasn't really interacting too much with me. There was really not too much eye contact. I'm rubbing his back. I'm trying to be like showing affection, like trying to like, all right, let's loosen up, trying to hold his hand, you know, flirt.
So you're trying to lighten the mood. You're trying to get romantic.
And I am getting shot down left and right. Now, my friends didn't know what was going on beforehand. So like, and they also like, I was hiding this pretty well. Yeah. But, you know, we started drinking and it just built up in me a little bit.
Yeah.
And we get to the place, the concert.
Yeah.
And I'm holding his, like I'm holding his hand up there. We get in, he grabs us a drink, everyone a drink, and then just stands there like, I don't want to be there, like shut down, don't talk to me, very closed off. I'm trying to engage with him, like, you know, Mitchell comes on and I'm just trying to like rock out. I'm trying to like enjoy the time. But the more I'm trying to like enjoy it, like I also didn't realize how much I was focusing on making sure he was having a good time.
Yeah,
and
that's too bad.
The fact that I was constantly getting shut down on that end, it just started building up in me. And then I was rubbing his back. I was trying to, he wasn't looking at me at all. There was no smile. There was no like, you know, enjoying this with you. There was no enjoyment. And it got to a point where like one of my favorite songs is coming on. I leaned over in his ear and I was like, oh my God, this is one of my favorite songs. He goes, oh yeah, what's the title of it?
Oh my God, I hate it when people do that. Like, serious? I don't need to know the title to know I love this song. What's your problem?
I'm like, are you serious? And he goes, see, I knew you didn't know. And I was just like, and that's when something in my head said, I'm done. I'm not having a good time. You ruined this for me.
Yeah.
So, and it probably didn't help that I had a few drinks in my system.
So what?
Can be, it can be too much. Like it can be too much sometimes. And
you guys stay the whole concert? Did it go on all night?
I literally looked over at my friend. I was like, I want to leave.
Oh, you left in the middle of your favorite concert.
I left maybe 5 songs in. 6 songs in, 5 songs in. Oh my gosh. But like I leaned to her because she took an Uber originally. So I was like, you know, you guys are going to take an Uber back. Just stay and enjoy yourself. I looked at him and I said, I'm leaving. I'm going home. I'll meet you outside in 5. And I heard him go, what?
Like he didn't understand what was happening?
None. And so they ended up all coming out into the car. And he sat behind me. my girlfriend sat in the driver or the passenger seat, and her husband sat in the passenger seat as well. I drove them home. And when we got near her apartment, and they came out, they jumped out. He stayed in the back seat on the way home, back to my apartment. And
Wait a minute. Like you were his Uber driver? You were
Pretty
his
much.
Uber driver.
He sat right behind me.
Oh my
And
God.
I proceeded to try to talk to him, be like, look, like I was really looking forward to tonight, and you kind of ruined it for me. And that's when he started yelling, and he's like, don't you fucking dare put this on me.
He raised his voice to you?
Oh yeah. And he's like, you acted like a fucking child tonight.
Oh, nice.
He's like, this is a huge red flag for me. And I'm like, this is a huge red flag for me too. And the fact that you, like, fine, we can't talk right now because I'm fucking pissed too, but all right. So we pull up to my apartment. He goes, my car's right there. I'm like, do you have anything in my apartment? He goes, no. I'm like, all right. He jumps out. So you
talked to him since then?
I usually got good mornings every morning. Mm-hmm. Haven't gotten a good morning since then. Saturday, I knew he had a funeral. So I said, good morning. You know, I know you have a funeral, but please let me know when you want to talk today. Mm-hmm. Because when he got out of my car, he did say, we'll talk tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, and I know you have a funeral, so let me know when you're ready to, when you want to talk today. I'm sorry.
Wow.
And 3 hours later, he texted me and was like, you know, can we talk tomorrow? I have a lot going on.
Yeah. But you didn't hear from him.
And he goes, I'm sorry too. I have not heard from him since.
Okay. I can see that your energy is down today. I can tell that this is getting to you. And I can probably say that you're taking this personally, like it's something that you did for him to react that way to you, or for him to be ghosting you at this point. And we are going to do an episode about ghosting. But Gaby, you do have to know that this is not you, that you can't force someone to behave a certain way, and that someone's character isn't going to be okay. Someone's character is their character. And all I got to say about this, truly from my heart, knowing you as well as I know you, you didn't do this. And if someone is going to have that kind of behavior, you should actually text him and say, thank you for showing me who you are now when we are so early in the relationship. Because what would happen after you met his parents, or he met your family, or you have a relationship, or you have children together, and the times get tough? You know, what would he have done to you? So you have to really honestly sit back and say, thank you, universe, for this opportunity to show me who is meant to not be in my life. Does that make sense? Because sometimes the universe hurts us to help us.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of hurting me.
We have to accept that. You have to stop and think, you know, people are going to treat people the way they're going to treat people. You can't walk into somebody's life and say, you know, I expect you to treat me a certain way. And if they don't, then you think it's your fault. But that's not the case. I hope you realize that you've got so much to give, and you are such an incredible, beautiful person that, you know, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, somebody really extraordinary is going to come into your life because you are extraordinary. You deserve that. You have to remember to say every day that I am worthy of love. I am worthy of a good man. I am worthy of a marriage-minded man who's going to treat me with love, respect, and kindness and affection. So when you're saying I am every day with these things, you are going to become that, which you already are, but you have to remember to say those things. Because if you'd stayed with this person and they would wound up showing their true colors in the future, you would have missed out on the person that you are meant to be with. So you have to think about it that way. And I've been reminding myself of that, this last couple weeks. I'm kind of, but not really going through the same thing. I have to remind myself all the time. I constantly, every day, when I get in a funk about the fact that the person that I'm extremely interested in, who said he's ready for something, but has been kind of not as communicative. And my cat just walked in the room, and I just felt such utter joy and relief. Sorry, folks, but right before the show started, my back door was left open, and we thought that the cat had gotten out, and I was feeling extremely devastated. And I'm feeling pretty good at this moment. Anyway, back to what I was saying is that the person that I'm interested in, who is saying he is interested in me, I have to say every day to myself, I do not chase, I attract. What is meant for me will simply come to me. So
Oh, I like that.
that's what we got to remember. So right now we're going to bring on a guy. Thank you for sharing, Gaby. We're going to bring on someone really amazing right now. We're going to bring on a guy who's called Clint Hufft. Clint is a officiant. He's going to talk to us about marriage-minded men. He talks to marriage-minded men all the time. He's been an officiant for Paris Hilton for her wedding, Trista and Ryan for their wedding for the Bachelorette, which I love. That's a great show. He's also done Hitched or Ditched, I Do Redo, Gaby and Charlie's wedding on Home and Family on the Hallmark channel, and the wedding on MasterChef at Fox TV. Clint's here to help us look inside the man's mind whose intent is marriage. So welcome to the show, Clint.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me. This is intense. You guys are intense. Oh my gosh.
We thought that it just turned out that our weeks turned out to be kind of men who say they're relationship minded, but then don't behave in a relationship minded way. So it's perfect for our episode with you today.
It was meant to be, Clint.
I know.
Well, first of all, let me say that I am of the opinion that whatever a person is feeling, they're entitled to those feelings. And so if anybody says, oh, stop it or get over it, or, you shouldn't be feeling that way, I think that's misguided. I think you're feeling whatever you're feeling, and there's a reason why you are feeling those things. And so I think it's okay to just say, yeah, this is where I'm at right now. But the other thing I like about human beings is that multiple things can coexist at the same time, because, you were bummed about one thing, and then your cat walked in the door, and all of a sudden you're elated about that thing, and all these things can coexist. So I think you guys are onto something here. I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you. Well, each week, Clint, we talk about different things with dating. I really try to do that positive spin on the whole dating philosophy these days, because everybody, when you say, oh yeah, I'm modern dating or I'm online dating, they give that, oh my God, that's the worst thing, and we're trying to give a good spin to kind of teach people the right thing to do, or the right place to go, or something to keep in mind. And there's a lot of women out there who really want to be in a relationship, or a lot of men who think, I don't know the man's mind. Okay, so that's why you're here today.
Yes.
And you're around a lot.
Please help me, a wise one.
Okay, well then let's start with that. Now, first of all, a little bit of my background. I've been a wedding officiant for, oh my gosh, over 25 years.
Yeah.
And that means that I've been blessed to perform wedding ceremonies for lots and lots and lots and lots of couples.
Yeah.
And couples now means everything. And so all different combinations. But I will, I think, now speak directly to kind of the things that you guys are talking about, which is male, female, man, woman type of a situation. Here's my experience. First of all, I think a person has to be ready. I mean, no matter what your journey is throughout your life, I think it's an
Yeah.
evolutionary process. And I think that to get involved in that sort of a commitment, when we're talking about marriage, that sort of a commitment before you're actually mentally, emotionally ready to make that commitment, I think is, well, it's a mistake, in my opinion.
I agree.
That we do hear stories of people that are committed to each other at an early age, or there's all kinds of stories of people that got married after a week. Usually that's from, generations before us. But the important thing is that every now and then you're going to hear an incredible success story. But success means different things to different people. And obviously, I think every single marriage has conflict in it. That's just the
Yes.
nature of the beast, because we're human beings. And so if you accept that premise, because every now and then a couple will say to me, we've never had a fight. And in
Oh.
my head, I'm thinking, that's okay, give it time. And
Yeah. Hopefully they can handle that properly.
well, that brings me to the next thing.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the mind of a guy here in a second. But I think the preparatory process is
Mhm.
really, really important, because it can be done individually. Everybody should kind of take a look at themselves. And what I believe is that it's okay to imagine, who do you really want to be married to? And it doesn't have to
Yes, I
be
agree.
like marriage. It's whatever. Who do you really want to have that kind of a long-term commitment with? And who do you think they're going to want? So in other words, if there are some things in your own closet that need to be kind of tidied up, it's okay to do that work. In fact, I think it's great.
Yes.
The other thing that I just heard today, which I thought was fascinating, and it was in regards to business, people that are, young entrepreneurs. And the concept was, if you're doing something right now, I'm just going to talk about business. So, and we'll get
Okay.
to relationships in a second. But if you're doing something that you don't really enjoy, that you don't really feel fired up about, that you don't see an exciting future with, then it's okay to let that go. It's okay to be single professionally, because
Yeah.
a lot of professional success comes just from being in the right place at the right time. And if you're involved with something else, then you're not really available to whatever good fortune is supposed to come to you. Listen, I don't know how the universe works. I just know that things happen. Like, for
Yes.
instance, I met my wife on an airplane. And when I know personally
always
what
hope
it
that
means
happens
to
to me.
be ready. Oh, you will hope that you'll meet somebody
Yeah,
on an
I always
airplane?
think every time I get on a plane, I always go, oh God, please let someone really hot be sitting next to me who's single and thinks I'm just so cute.
She wants that romantic comedy.
I want the rom-com. Sorry.
Oh.
But I'm sorry, Clint. So you and your wife met on a plane.
Right. But prior to that, I didn't meet her until I was 44 years old. And I spent 15 years in the nightclub business. I was a DJ, and along with a lot of other things in the entertainment industry. And so I knew at a very early age that I wanted to be married someday, but I also knew that I wasn't ready. And so, as one would imagine, in the nightclub industry, you get a lot of stuff out of your system. But then the day came where I said, okay, now I'm ready. And then I thought, well, okay, ready for who? And I actually made kind of a little list. It wasn't written in stone, but I just thought,
Right.
Number one, she has to think I'm funny. Number two, I have to enjoy looking at her. Number three, there are certain kind of personal beliefs, my morals, my ethics, my spiritual considerations, that it'd be kind of cool if we were on the same page. Now,
Yeah.
having said that, I know a couple that's been married for over 20 years. He's an atheist and she's a Jehovah's Witness. And
Oh.
and they make it work. So that means
Wow.
that there's a lot more to human beings and to a relationship than just the one or two like specific things. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
a lot of things that can work. Now, the thing that normally gets in the way of that particular environment, where one is so extremely different than the other in terms of their belief systems, is the fact that they also agreed right off the bat they did not want to have any kids. And so a lot of those conflicts never came up. So let's get back to what I've experienced. What I've seen and experienced is that when a guy is finally actually ready, then it changes the way we look at women. I mean, most of the time when you've been in a relationship and it doesn't work out, and it doesn't make any difference why it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. It doesn't make any difference whose fault it is or who initiated it. That doesn't matter. What matters is we all learn from that. Now, I'm saying we, the male species, I honestly have no idea what goes on with women. I really don't. I'll say that right up front. I have 3 sisters, no brothers. I still have no clue. But here's the thing. Is that we learn, and most guys start a list of things that my wife will not do. And obviously they're the things that we're looking for, but they're also the things that I'm not going to really be able to live with that. I don't think that I'm going to be able to have a long-term relationship with that. It doesn't mean we can't date. It doesn't mean we can't be friends. It doesn't mean any of those things. You can still have a relationship. But in terms of being honest with yourself in regards to, is this the person that I actually could be married to, happily married to? Well, okay, you can go out with somebody and everything is going great. But if that person begins to do something that's on that do not do list, then in our minds, we're kind of like screaming, especially if we like the person. No, please don't do that. Please don't. Oh, fine. Okay. Well, I'm not going to marry you. It doesn't mean we can't have a great relationship, but I'm not going to marry you. And that's just the way it works. But then you meet somebody and everything starts to go really well. And it just keeps going well. And then the guy says, oh, okay, wait a minute. I really don't want to see anybody else. I really only am interested in her. Then it keeps going well. And then he says, oh my gosh, not only do I like her, I think I love her. And then if it keeps going well, then he realizes she's the one. And then we have to get up the courage. And it's kind of like the scariest thing we've ever done, to ask her, will you marry me? And listen, there's a lot of kind of baggage that comes with the proposal, because we want to do it right. We want her to have brilliant memories. We want her to be able to tell people, oh my gosh, and when he proposed, it was this and this and this. And it was just right for her. That's what we hope in our hearts. But the bottom line is, all we really want is yes.
Right.
I mean, that's really all we want, is for her to say, yeah, I'll marry you. Because when that happens, I'm honestly surprised we don't blow up, because it means that much to us. I'm serious as a heart attack. It means that much to us. And so now if you fast forward to the wedding ceremony, then the way I construct a ceremony is with the bride and groom, and with every couple now, and to make sure that they're hands-on and that they say exactly what they want to say and they hear exactly what they want to hear. Because just so you know, for most guys, all of that stuff is kind of cool, but the bottom line is he just wants to see in her eyes during the ceremony, when he realizes, oh my gosh, it's actually happening, we're actually getting married. He just wants to see in her eyes that, number one, she's where she wants to be. Number two, she's doing exactly what she wants to do. And number three, she still wants to marry him, because we're amazed you want to hang around with us, much less marry us. So, It's just that kind of a deal. But it all is predicated on the idea that there's an evolutionary journey with every single human being, male or female. And when they are at that point where they actually say to themselves, no, I'm ready to find my mate, then I think a lot of homework should be done. I think, that's why people will sometimes go through premarital counseling. And what I tell couples, I'm not certified as a premarital counselor, but what I tell them is, really, you just learn how to fight. You just learn how to honor each other, and realize that if you get too emotional, then rationale goes out the window. But you recognize it, you see it for what it is, and you're able to figure out ways in order to listen, validate, and make sure that the other person knows you really do understand what they're talking about. And the only way you can do that is
show up to the ring.
Well, he did up to that point. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and please forgive me. Sometimes I say things out of ignorance that are insensitive or inappropriate, and you can call me on that, please, because that's how I learn. But I don't think that he would have floated the idea of you meeting his family on Christmas Day, or whatever it was, Christmas Eve, unless he had been doing some thinking and thought that you were pretty important. So whatever led up to that moment of closure, when I say closure, I mean the shutting down, the way you described it, there's a whole backstory there. Yeah. And if that can be explored, it doesn't mean it's going to salvage the relationship. It doesn't mean that at all. But what it means is there's a curiosity as to what another human being is experiencing. And there is a possibility that some knowledge, some insight can be taken into the next relationship. But unless you do that exploration and have that conversation, and with you and plus you can both acknowledge the fact that, you know what, I don't think this is going to work out, but I am curious just to kind of like what your day was like before you came to my house, just for your own knowledge, because the more conversations that people have like that, then I think the stronger a relationship can be, whatever that relationship is supposed to be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing, Clint. When Gaby was telling the story, I thought something must have happened within himself to lead up to it, that was to that moment or that date, that brought him to a conclusion or brought him to some kind of thought that it just wasn't where he thought he was supposed to be
There's
in
that
relationship.
There could have been something that, Gaby, there could have been something that you did that was a trigger for him, and you have no idea. You're just living your life, doing your thing, and you have no idea that something. And that's the thing that's fascinating, is that if you have some life under your belt, excuse me, and you've been through relationships, and then, like I said, you develop triggers, and you have a list of things that I can't work with that. Well, we don't lay that on the table at the first date. You know what I mean? Right. We just, although that would be a fascinating conversation. There's a guy who did a one-man show that I saw like 20 years ago, and I thought it was brilliant. His name is Rick Reynolds, and he was a stand-up comedian, but then he developed this one-man show. It was very autobiographical. It was awesome. At the very beginning, he said, "I'm not an actor. I'm just going to tell you some stories, and however I feel about it at the moment, that's what's going to come out. I don't force myself to cry. I don't force myself to laugh. I'm just going to tell you some stories." And it was great. And one of the things that I really resonated with was, he said he hated chit chat, couldn't stand it, didn't like going to social occasions where there was just, chit chat. Some people really like that, really enjoy that. I think that's the definition of introvert or extrovert, that sort of thing. But what he did say was, wouldn't it be great if every single conversation began with, "Tell me your emotional pain." And I loved that. And I'll tell you why. Not so much that, because if you come from a place of I'm feeling pretty good, and whatever you're about to tell me doesn't mean my life is terrible, but I am open to you. And if there's any way that I can offer, even if it's just an ear to listen, I love that sense of honesty. I really do. And I realize that right off the bat, that doesn't always work. But okay, let me go back to when I met my wife. I knew for a fact that I wanted to have children. I knew that I was going to be a great dad. I wanted to have kids. And so that was a deal breaker for me. So we're sitting across the aisle from each other, and we start up a conversation, and she is hot. Holy moly. Oh my gosh. She is stunningly beautiful. And she was reading a book that I had read before I got on this particular trip. And it was a spiritual focused book. And I said, "Oh man, I know that book." And so we just chatted about that. And then I realized, this is going pretty well. And I like the way she converses and the way she expresses herself. About 5 minutes into the conversation, I said, "Do you think you'll ever have kids?" Just, because I thought, it's okay. We're on a plane. We're going to get off this plane, and we may never see each other again. And so I just said, "Do you think you'll ever have kids?" And she said, "Oh, absolutely." And she was surprised. She told me later she was really surprised that I brought it up, because she had been having trouble dating, and she knew she wanted to have kids, and not everybody that she had been meeting was of that mindset. And everybody that talks to me about the dating world, listen, I've married a lot of couples that met online through dating applications or whatever the case may be. That seems to be more of the way the world works nowadays. And they all say that they had a horrible experience up to the moment when they met each other. And so I just think that's part of the journey. I really do. And when in the clubs, you had to go through a lot of people to find somebody that was pretty cool. I mean, that was just the nature of the beast. It's humanity. But I love the idea that there's a sense of honesty, if you want, where you can not from a, how can I put this? If you come from a place of confidence, where you say to yourself, "You know what? These are my morals. These are my ethics. And here's how I want to help people." If you start from those three basic things, that gives you a sense of a wonderful foundation, a sense of confidence in you, to where when you begin the conversation, you don't have to worry necessarily about people who do or don't like you from that standpoint, because you help people and you have good morals and ethics. Then it's just a matter of learning how people conduct their lives and what's important to them. But it doesn't affect you because you already have that strong anchor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense.
You know what I think? I think you struck a chord, Clint. Gaby and I had a conversation about the night before her concert. And I'm not going to reveal anything, Gaby, but I am going to say that
It was a
Gaby
few days beforehand.
was emotionally available and vulnerable in a conversation that she had with this person that she had started dating, and felt really, like relieved that she could be vulnerable and tell him something. And I personally think that it had nothing to do with his day. I don't think it had anything to do with how Gaby reacted or was on their date. I think he realized that vulnerability or the topic was something he couldn't handle. And it's just like what you had said. Some people are able to handle certain things in life and some aren't. And I think if a guy is not able to handle what traumas or drama or life instances that you've gone through, they're not the person for you.
I think it's a two-way street. I really do. I hear what you're saying, and it's 100% valid. But I also think it's a two-way street in which that if the other person is triggered by something that we've said, then that's worth exploring as well. And you have to be open to that. I think it's a two-way street. If the other person isn't in the same place, when you're being vulnerable, then it's okay to say what I'm feeling is legitimate. And what I'm expressing to you is the best way I know how to express it. But then I think a simple question of, what did you hear me say? Just to open up that level of conversation, of communication. What did you hear me say? Because I'm not sure I'm saying it correctly. And then to start that dialogue of, well, what I heard you say is da da da, and they're going to be revealing to you how they filtered it, and then that's explorations on a different level. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that I would have liked to have had that opportunity. I mean, I know that it was Wednesday night when I, kind of opened up a very personal part of my past that kind of it explained something that he was worried about, and I kind of had to give backstory on why I am more guarded for certain things. I know I'm speaking in code, and I apologize, but I don't need it in
it's fine.
In that world.
Let me address that just real quickly.
Yes.
Everybody who's listening to this is filling in their own blanks. So in other words, what you're saying, the code that you're saying, everybody else is applying their own story to this. So this is very, very helpful. Keep going.
And I don't usually divulge it this early. I was surprised. I even called Christine and I was like, I am surprised that I literally word vomited on him because it was something that I couldn't talk about for a long time. And it made me very vulnerable and sensitive to how he was going to respond to it. Because to me, I was like, oh God, he's going to run for the hills. He's going to run for the hills. And he told me, he's like, no, I'm not. The next day, I invited him over for dinner and he was like, sorry, I have some errands to run, but I'll FaceTime you later. Never heard from him. The next morning, Friday morning, I got a text saying, I'm so sorry. I ran my errands. I got a little tipsy and I passed out. So that was the morning of our concert. So I feel like that might've been a trigger for him. And then his response that entire evening was maybe to pick at a scab until I bit. And then when I exploded, it's like, whoa, look, see, she's crazy. When you just kind of pick away a little bit. But I mean, moving forward though, not to move past my issue, whatever, but I'm going to get back on the date. I am at 38. I am secure. I'm independent. I've got my shit together. What are signs that you feel or what are signs of a man that is looking for something serious from a dating site? Because that it's pictures and it's a little paragraph and it's, those first superficial comments, but any help is appreciated.
Hi guys.
Well,
sorry, I lost you for a minute.
It's okay. He's going to answer my question real quick, babe.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, technical difficulties today. What can I say?
Go ahead. I only have 2 minutes left with him.
Yeah, then I got to jump. So I think that you put in your own filters in the text. So in other words, whether it's a text or you're doing a video, whatever it is, that I think you can say, excuse me, I think it's really important to say right up front, here's what I'm hoping for. Not here's what I want or here's what I'm demanding. Here's what I'm hoping for. And you put the parameters in, that whatever they may be. It could be that you want him to be self-sufficient. It could be that you're looking for somebody who is ready to be monogamous, or you're looking for somebody who will explore a relationship and have a lot of fun. But ultimately, that's where you want to go. You want to be able to find somebody that you can actually enjoy the rest of your life with. And I think saying it like that, somebody that you can enjoy the rest of your life with, putting it like that, number one, I think it lightens the load, but it sends a very clear message on what you're hoping for. It isn't so much the commitment itself. It's that you will enjoy the rest of your life in companionship with this person. And then what's great about it is that every couple has their own rules. Every couple figures out what this is all about. And if you just put it in those contexts that I'm looking for this and this and this and this, and also to enjoy the rest of my life with, then your objective is very clear.
Okay.
I agree. When I'm being approached by somebody, I online date because I don't meet people anywhere else. When I'm approached online dating, they ask me what I want. I say, I'm looking for someone to laugh with, to enjoy quality time doing things with, to possibly travel with, and to hopefully have an opportunity to build something great for a lifetime with.
You put in that word lifetime, then your objective is very clear. And
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I got to jump.
No,
This has
that's
been
good.
really great.
Thank you for
Come
being
back,
with us
come
today,
back.
Clint. Thank you
I would
much.
be honored to come back. Yes, thank you.
We're gonna have you back.
Okay, great. All right, thank you
so
very
much.
much. I'm not
Thanks,
sure how to
Clint.
sign off, but
No,
thank you.
we're all good. Thank you for giving us the insight to a man's mind today. The marriage-minded man.
He's fabulous. I
Isn't
want
he
him back
wonderful?
on.
Yeah. How did he? I'm so sorry. I don't know how I was dropped, but somehow I was dropped, and then I was freaking
It's
out.
okay. It's okay. No, it was, he's, it's very insightful, and it's very, I think that I got a very, I became kind of driven. I got he lit a fire a little bit, all right, you know what? Back in the dating world, or back on the online dating again. And there are guys out there, and this is what I got to do.
Yes. Okay. So that made me think about something, Gaby. That made me think about what we were talking about, thinking, okay, do we want to waste our time with somebody who's not ready for what we are? Or do we want to be knocked out of that boat quickly and swim to another that's the guy is reaching out to say, here, let me help you into my boat? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like we're paddling out and the guy goes, oh, you're not the right girl for me. You said something I don't like. Whack! And he knocks us out with his oar, and we're floundering in the water with nowhere to swim. And then this hot guy pulls up in this motorboat and goes, here, let me take you in, sweetie.
Ooh, hey.
You like that?
It's just, I think that, especially with online dating, we get so many disappointments because you're constantly messaged, you're constantly, sexually objectified. And I know that every woman in some way, shape, or form has been sent a dick pic, or has had someone made a comment about a body part, or show me, let me see a full body picture, or
we're objectified a lot.
Yeah, just totally objectified. And we just constantly get disappointed and let down. And I think that I got a little ahead of myself when someone wanted to invest a little bit more time. So I started overlooking some of the flags that I did see early.
Yes.
And I was just really excited about just being dating, being with one person, and getting to know one person, and having that attention and some kind of sense of security.
I agree. I know.
But obviously that blew up pretty quickly. And
But that's okay. It blew up quickly because he wasn't the right one for you. It
right.
blew up quickly because otherwise, if he had stayed around, it could have gone wrong in many other ways.
And I loved one thing that Clint said is like, you know, that they have the same kind of morals and ethics and goals and life, like that outlook that he mentioned. Because him and I have very different views on many different things. Politics.
Yep. You did. You had a lot of
health.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly still do believe in some way, you know, that someone who voted for Trump and myself, that I'm a liberal. I don't believe that I'm far left, and I don't believe that I'm not center. I am more middle left. There are some things on the right that I believe, but I am a liberal, and I identify as a liberal. He is a Trump conservative Republican, anti-vaxxer, and you know, we attempted to try to talk about it. And we're like, you know what, let's just not talk about it because we're not listening. You're not going to change our mind. I'm not going to change our mind. But then he would make comments like fucking liberals, like comments under his breath. And like,
well, he does know he's saying you. I mean,
even knowing that I am a liberal, like, but he was talking about like a food truck that like cut him off or something. Okay. It's a food truck, dude.
You can't go into a relationship having that many opposites, having that many things you don't agree on.
And I mean, do I think that it's possible for people with different views to be together? I hope so, because I don't want to like be that person where it's like, you know, you just, I don't want to be that closed-minded, because he might be great and he just might, like, we could educate each other and talk and have a conversation. And
fundamentally, you have to be on the same page. Fundamentally, you have to be on the same page, or it's not going to work. You're going to constantly be telling each other, oh, well, let's not talk about that. Well, let's not talk about that. And then, so, you know, you can't have anything you can talk about. You have to do that. You know how we were saying that today was a marriage-minded, you know, show?
Yeah.
I came up with this idea that I felt like maybe we should stop and think, let's not worry about the person that we want to marry and figure out if we're the people we want to marry. So maybe we should have our own personal ceremony to marry ourselves, to be happy within ourselves. That way we don't feel like we need somebody else to come in to fulfill something that's lacking. So
it's a really interesting.
You see what I mean? We're marrying
that's
ourselves.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my own little ceremony. Actually,
I'm literally going to contact every single person I've ever gone to a baby shower, a wedding shower, a bridal party, a bachelorette party, a bachelor party, and I want expensive fucking gifts because I spent a lot of money on all those people. Just saying.
I did something this week where we have to go. Our time is almost up, but I did this thing. You can't, it's hard to see it, but you can kind of see it. It's red paper with a red pen. And I wrote down all the things that I'm looking for in my person. And it's a way to manifest. So I'm manifesting on a red paper. You should try this, Gaby, with a red pen. And you want to manifest, write down all the things that the qualities or the things that you're looking for in your person. And I think it reveals a lot about yourself too. And at the end, as I told you, my end of mine, I listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that I wanted that were really core value things. And then I say, I am loved. I am worthy of the love and relationship that I deserve. Thank you.
I love that. You're going to have to text me that later.
So it's just an exercise, I think, to help us get to that place.
Love that.
But I just want to say thanks to Clint Hufft today for being here. We like talking to somebody who kind of gives us a little insight on, you know, maybe what a guy's thinking or feeling, and that gives us hope that there are men out there who are looking for the same things that we are, that it's not just a perpetual sexual quickie, you know, non-committal thing. So
Right.
that gives me hope, and hopefully that gives you hope. I feel a lot better than when I first started the
Me
show.
too.
I know your energy is much lighter and much better. Gaby, thank you for always being here for me. I love having you as my host with me. It's the best time. It's like a private little moments with us.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thanks to the guests for being here today. We hope to see you again next week. We have an amazing show with a very funny lady who's going to talk about the con men in her life. The men that she runs into are con men, which is terrible. Anyway, we hope you come back. Please share with your friends to come and watch us and listen to us. And we hope to see you again, same time, same place as next week. And until then, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again